What if I told you that one man controlled so much wealth and power that he could crash entire industries with a single decision? Meet Cornelius Vanderbilt, the original corporate titan who literally invented the playbook for modern business domination. We're talking about mid-19th century America, specifically New York City and its surrounding waterways and rail lines. This is the era historians call the Gilded Age, when fortunes were made and lost overnight. The Industrial Revolution is transforming America from an agricultural society into an economic powerhouse. And right in the middle of this chaos stands a man who would become richer than the United States Treasury itself. Cornelius Vanderbilt was born in 1794 on Staten Island to a poor farming family. His parents couldn't afford to keep him in school past age 11. But young Cornelius possessed something more valuable than formal education, an almost supernatural understanding of competition and an absolutely ruthless drive to win. At 16, he borrowed $100 from his mother to buy a small ferry boat. That single boat would become the foundation of an empire worth over $100 billion in today's money. Vanderbilt started by ferrying passengers and cargo between Staten Island and Manhattan. He worked 18-hour days, 7 days a week, undercutting his competitors' prices while providing faster, more reliable service. His competitors called him crazy for charging so little, but Vanderbilt understood something they didn't: control the market first, profit later. Within a few years, he'd driven most of his rivals out of business and controlled New York Harbor's ferry traffic. But ferries were just the beginning. By the 1830s, steamships were revolutionizing water transportation. Vanderbilt recognized the opportunity immediately. He started working for a steamship owner named Thomas Gibbons, learning everything about the steamship business. Then, in typical Vanderbilt fashion, he left to start his own competing company. He slashed prices so aggressively that established steamship companies couldn't compete. Some rivals actually paid him to stay out of certain routes. Vanderbilt called these payments tribute money, like he was some kind of commercial warlord. His reputation grew fearsome. Business competitors dreaded seeing Vanderbilt enter their markets. He once declared, "I won't sue you, for the law is too slow. I'll ruin you," and he meant it. Vanderbilt pioneered tactics that modern corporations still use today. Predatory pricing, vertical integration, stock manipulation, and strategic monopolization. These weren't just business strategies, they were weapons in his personal war for economic supremacy. During the California gold rush of 1849, Vanderbilt saw another opportunity. Prospectors needed fast transportation to California. The traditional route went around South America's southern tip, taking months. Vanderbilt created an alternative route through Nicaragua, cutting travel time in half. He built his own docks, roads, and steamship lines. At his peak, he controlled more tonnage than the entire United States Navy. The Commodore, as people now called him, had become America's shipping king. But Vanderbilt's greatest transformation came in his 60s, when most men consider retirement. In the 1860s, he made a stunning decision. He sold his entire shipping empire and invested everything in railroads. People thought he'd lost his mind. Railroads were considered risky, chaotic, and poorly managed. Vanderbilt saw something different: the future of American commerce. He started by acquiring the New York and Harlem Railroad, then the Hudson River Railroad. His master stroke came in 1867 when he took control of the New York Central Railroad, creating the first great railroad empire connecting New York City to the Great Lakes. Vanderbilt didn't just buy railroads, he revolutionized them. He standardized track gauges, replaced iron rails with steel, and built the magnificent Grand Central Depot in Manhattan. Vanderbilt's railroad battles became legendary. His most famous conflict involved the Erie Railroad and three rivals: Jay Goode, Jim Fisk, and Daniel Drew. These men tried to prevent Vanderbilt's takeover by illegally printing new stock shares, diluting his ownership. The Erie War, as historians call it, involved bribery, stock manipulation, and even physical violence. Legislators were bought, judges were corrupted, and millions of dollars changed hands. Goode and his partners eventually fled to New Jersey with $6 million of Vanderbilt's money, protected by armed guards and corrupt politicians. Vanderbilt eventually cut his losses in the Erie War, but he'd proven a crucial point. Whoever controlled transportation controlled commerce itself. By the 1870s, his New York Central system was America's largest corporation. He created something unprecedented: a modern, professionally managed business empire that operated across multiple states. The Commodore's personal life was as dramatic as his business dealings. He married twice and had 13 children. He largely ignored most of them, focusing obsessively on business. His relationship with his son William was particularly complex. Vanderbilt initially considered William weak and incompetent, even disinheriting him temporarily. But William eventually proved himself capable, and Vanderbilt left him the bulk of his fortune when he died in 1877. That fortune was staggering, over $100 million, more than the entire United States Treasury held at the time. Vanderbilt left $95 million to William alone, creating America's largest single inheritance up to that point. The concentration of such wealth in private hands shocked the nation and sparked debates about economic inequality that continue today. Vanderbilt's legacy extends far beyond his personal wealth. He essentially invented the modern corporation as we know it. Before Vanderbilt, most businesses were small, family-owned operations or loosely organized partnerships. Vanderbilt created hierarchical management structures, standardized operations across multiple locations, and demonstrated how corporations could accumulate power rivaling governments. He pioneered the concept of the corporate monopoly. His methods of crushing competition through predatory pricing and market manipulation became standard practice in the Gilded Age. Robber barons like John Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, and J.P. Morgan all studied and copied Vanderbilt's techniques. The corporate consolidation movement that dominated late 19th century America started with Vanderbilt's railroad empire. His influence on American infrastructure is equally profound. The railroad network Vanderbilt built and expanded became the backbone of American industrial growth. Cities grew where his rail lines stopped. Industries flourished where his trains could transport raw materials and finished goods. Modern America's economic geography still reflects decisions Vanderbilt made over 150 years ago. Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee, stands as his most visible philanthropic legacy. He donated $1 million to establish the school in 1873, his largest charitable gift. Yet this single act of generosity stands in stark contrast to his lifetime of ruthless business practices. He once said, "What do I care about the law? Ain't I got the power?" This quote perfectly captures his attitude toward rules, regulations, and social responsibility. Today's debates about corporate power, wealth inequality, and business ethics all trace back to the world Vanderbilt helped create. Modern antitrust laws exist specifically because of monopolists like him. Corporate regulations emerged from the chaos of his era. Cornelius Vanderbilt died in 1877 at age 82, still working, still scheming, still accumulating power until his final breath. He'd transformed himself from an uneducated ferry boy into America's richest man. More importantly, he transformed American business itself, creating a template for corporate power that shapes our world today. When you see a massive corporation dominating its industry, using its market power to crush competitors, accumulating wealth and influence that rivals governments, you're seeing Vanderbilt's ghost. The Commodore may be gone, but the world he built is very much still with us.